being joined now by Nadia Bilchek for our morning passport. And this name, so many Americans have been hearing, this Prime Minister, Papandreou, about to step down. That's the breaking news we've got this morning. But this man has literally been holding your 401k in his hands to some degree.
Yes. This week, the markets tumbled just because he made an announcement that he was going to have a referendum as to whether or not the Greeks would adhere to the austerity measures. Well, there isn't really a choice, is there? What choice does Greece have? Yeah. They either stay as part of the EU and adhere to austerity measures, or they become the pariahs of the world. So he has just announced intention to resign, which means as soon as a coalition government is formed, and it doesn't look like he will be part of that coalition government, which his opponent, Antonis Samaras, is delighted about. Now, what's fascinating here, TJ, is Antonis Samaras, Papandreou's opponent, went to Amherst College with him. They were roommates. Wow. So the man who wants Papandreou to resign. Now, also interesting is if you think about Papandreou, he's much more of a Labour leader. It's a socialist government. Much harder for Papandreou to pass the austerity measures. It's going to be much easier for a coalition government to do that. So I think this is going to bring a lot of confidence to the markets. I think people already are reacting by saying this is a good thing because you're having people singing from the same hymn page. You can't have Papandreou who's going, well, do we want this or not? And a whole lot of other people say, are you kidding? Do we have a choice? What's also interesting in Greece, when you look at the opulence, people could retire at around 50 years old with a pension of $50,000 to $60,000. Historically, that's how they've been living. Wouldn't that be nice?
See, that sounds great, but if that's what you're used to, and then you have to give up a few years or a little less money in that pension, and you know, over here in this country, we might be looking at that and saying, wow, you've got it good, but you know what? It's not what they're used to, relatively speaking.
Absolutely. In this country, unfortunately, we work a lot longer. Yeah. We get a lot less when we do retire. But what's happening is there's going to have to be huge cuts. You have this enormous government system in Greece. They're going to have to be cuts. There's going to have to be austerity. People are going to have to live very differently. Who wants to do that? And Papandreou certainly didn't want to be the one to have to pass those through. So one understands the complexity of the situation. But there, his college roommate, Antonis Samaras, must be smiling today. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. And hopefully the coalition government will pass through these austerity measures so that your 401k can remain a 401k and not a 201k, or in my case, a 101k.
Yes. That is literally what we're talking about, folks. It seems such a distance from us, but if they don't get their debt under control, if Greece defaults on their loans, that could bring down other economies of other countries. And this is a world market now. We're not just isolated anymore. This affects us all. So thank you for that.
Historic today.
Historic
George
moment today.
Papandreou announces that he will step down.
Our morning passport this morning. Thank you for hopping in here, Nadia Bilchek.